Alabama's syndicated news talk leader, Rightside Radio. Phil Williams here live in the Rightside studios. Man, we got the local, the state, the national, covering down on all of the issues. And oh yeah, like the dude just said, solid, conservative, and just plain right. Well, welcome to the middle of the week. Welcome to Wednesday. It's Wednesday all day long, but that also means we got to play some Camel. Hit it, man.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo! Congratulations. You have made it to the Camel. That means you're halfway to the weekend. And it's a pretty beautiful day out there. I mean, it's all things considered. It's had some rain last night in some places around our listening area, but today has been pretty good. And Big Rig is on the board. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. I never get tired of the Camel.
Yeah.
That's like, he's been with us, I think, almost the entire 2.5 years we've been doing this. It's just awesome. All right, listen, we got a great show laid on for you today. Coming up at 3 o'clock, some of y'all already know, if you're in the Huntsville listening market and you listen to the morning show with Dale Jackson, you already know Emily Trahan. Emily's going to be on the air with us today. Going to be talking about some things that are happening in Huntsville this weekend that she and I are both a part of. But also, she's going to jump in on the conversation with me about one of our dippers. So, yeah, Emily Trahan coming up at 3 o'clock today. I'm looking forward to having her on the show. And then at 4 o'clock today, you know the deal. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. It's not just Camel Day. It's time for the Grand Council. So we'll have Jeff Poore and Dale Jackson and little old me on at 4 o'clock today for a weekly edition of the Grand Council. And then I got a whole triple dipper even still. So hit it, buddy.
The Triple Dipper. 3 stories you've got to know.
That's right, the Triple Dipper, 3 stories, 3 themes, if you will, that you got to know as we run today's show. So very first one out the gate, I'm going to jump on yesterday's topic and to take it even further, war on women. New stuff overnight that I thought, you know what, this is worth doing. So yeah, the number 1 Triple Dipper, the war on women, and we'll talk about how that's unfolding right now. Number 2, EV go home is what I'm saying. The electric vehicle market is cratering right now. I'm trying not to gloat, but you know what? I've said all along, when you create a false market, the market will self-correct itself at some point, and we appear to be seeing that happening now. EV go home, number 2 on the Triple Dipper, and then number 3, I just get so irritated, man. I mean, I get just beyond it sometimes with the absolute, just balderdash, the junk being slung at our kids right now by the progressive left. Not in a small way. Not just like trying to get them to see things a certain way. No, literally preying upon our kids. Number 3 on the Triple Dipper is called Leave the Kids Alone. So yeah, we'll talk about that. Leave the kids alone. All right, let me jump on over here to the daily monologue, the Rightside Way monologue. I'll remind you guys, Southern Immediate Care. Southern Immediate Care is a chain of clinics that covers a huge swath of ground across our overly broad listening area. Southern Immediate Care in places like Gadsden, Anniston, Atala, 6 more locations around the Birmingham area. Southern Immediate Care sees all ages, open 7 days a week, and they are the sponsor every day of the Rightside Way monologue, and we appreciate it. All right, so let me just say this. I don't know about you, but I like not living in a major metropolitan area. I do. And by that, I mean like pure urban living on a large scale. I like having some green spaces to run around in. I like some small town feel. When Charlene and I go out to eat, I like running into friends like it seems only can happen in a small town. But that's not to say I don't like visiting. I do. I'm a huge fan of Washington, D.C., New York City, Nashville, and others. When I was doing duty in the Pentagon, I never got over what it was like to live in D.C. The sights, the sounds, the fact that you could eat at a different good restaurant every night of the year. I was fascinated with the ability to swim in the pool up on the roof of my building, to come down the elevator and walk to a cool pub, to catch a train to work every day, never drive my car once in a whole week. But then I also loved coming home when my tour was over. Just so glad. Charlene and I, we actually had a bucket list for a trip to New York City. We talked about it for years. Finally went a few years ago. We stayed in Midtown. We walked through Central Park. We went to Times Square. We saw Broadway musicals. And I finally did something that I said I would do for years. I took her to eat at a place called Tavern on the Green in Central Park, and it was perfect. I had actually carried around a little flyer of Tavern on the Green in my wallet for over a decade, swore that I was going to take her there one day, and finally did. The Big Apple, the crossroads of the world, man. We loved it, and then we loved coming home. You know, America can build some cities. I mean, sure, there's major metropolitan areas in other parts of the world. I've lived in London, I've visited Paris, Berlin, Brussels. But Americans, y'all, we can build some cities. We don't just build buildings, we put up skyscrapers. We don't just build bridges, we span whole waterways. We don't just do things halfway, we go all the way. Nothing in the world, in my opinion, can rival an American city. Nothing. And nobody can tear up an American city like American liberals. Let that sink in. It's absolutely maddening to me that some of the shining examples of metro living are struggling right now. And why? Why would that be? Largely because of liberal progressive policies, that's why. A story came out yesterday that got my attention and really sparked me to do this monologue, right? You may know actor Steve Buscemi. Actor Steve Buscemi, he plays some quirky characters in movies like Armageddon, Con Air, series like Boardwalk Empire. He's a native New Yorker. He's a much-loved local son in Brooklyn. Buscemi loves his city. He grew up there. Most folks don't know that he was also a New York firefighter before he went into acting. He started when he was 18 years old. He worked at one of the busiest firehouses for Engine Company 55 in downtown Manhattan's Little Italy back in the 1980s. And in the immediate aftermath of 9/11, Buscemi was one of those who put down everything he had. He put his acting career on pause, and he went back to his city, and he worked 12-hour shifts alongside his firefighter brothers as they dug through the rubble. He doesn't talk about it much. He didn't want a bunch of pictures taken. He wasn't there for that. He went there because it was his home and he loved his city, and nobody comes into our house and tears it down without some say-so by us, right? Well, last week, Steve Buscemi was assaulted on the streets of his own Manhattan. In one of those random criminal acts that seems all too common and less random, Steve Buscemi was merely out for a walk in his beloved Manhattan, and he was sucker punched by a stranger. The suspect has now been identified, and despite bleeding from one eye, Buscemi actually chased the dude for a while. But y'all, this has got to stop. These are our cities. And yeah, we want some say-so when someone comes into our house and tears it down, but what about when the folks that tear it down are actually the ones on the inside? Ripping it up with liberal policies and making life more difficult for those who are there. Putting some bad apples in the Big Apple. But you can see it elsewhere. San Francisco, Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta, Seattle. Major American cities led by blue state politicians are being crushed by the weight of bad decisions, the high cost of living, rising crime, and every bit of it, is self-inflicted. A recent study found that a two-bedroom apartment in San Francisco requires a median income of $99,190 for a two-bedroom apartment. But that's $99,000 to get the apartment. But the median household income sits at $92,000. This inequality of income, though, and this cost of living is also seen in other major cities like Los Angeles, where the median home price reached a record $988,000 just last year. $988,000 is the median home price in LA. Cities like San Francisco and New York are witnessing population declines, with a decrease of 5.3%, 7.5% in some places between 2020 and 2022. One recent report found that San Francisco itself is entering what was referred to as a death spiral. A death spiral. Because liberal soft-on-crime policies had made downtown feel unsafe, and then liberal COVID policies made workers push to then stay home, so now office space sits empty at epic rates, which means that restaurants have fewer patrons, which means that stores have fewer customers, but no one can afford to live downtown, so the spiral continues, and the city by the bay is becoming less and less the gym that it always was. And you may remember, too, after the death of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, a hands up, don't shoot, that whole thing. Arrests in St. Louis after that plummeted by over 30%, but murder rose by 47%. St. Louis's police chief, Sam Dodson, he soon labeled this depolicing phenomenon as the Ferguson effect. Enforcement plummeted in other major cities as well. Overall arrests dropped by 15% in New York City and 33% in Baltimore by the fall of 2015. Between 2014 and 2016, these efforts for depolicing and associated policies resulted in the largest two-year increase in murder in half a century. A 31% increase in murder in our major cities. And it got even worse when the BLM riot started. Look, there will always be problems in every part of society. City folks can find issues with rural America, sure. But the countryside doesn't tend to turn on itself like the cities do. Small towns may not have the best shopping or the most restaurants or the public transportation, but they don't sit around and destroy themselves from within the same way big cities do. If the things that are happening in major metro areas of the U.S. were the result of some bad actors from another country coming in and doing them, we would be at war. But because it's liberals who have policies that cause the decay that's taking more time by doing so, well, then we just become numb to it and continue on our way, and we wonder why no one can afford to live in downtown Seattle, or why Buckhead wants to succeed from Atlanta, or why Antifa is allowed to burn down whole city blocks in Portland for 100 straight days, or why homeless encampments take over sidewalks adjacent to elementary schools in San Francisco. The bottom line is that our major cities, they are part of the pride and joy of America. They are storied places where great things happen and great people still live. And we want them back. We want them all the way back. Not a little bit. We want them all the way back. We want our cities back. And the only way for that to happen, y'all, is for good folks to get busy. And that's a wrap for the Rightside Way. Yeah, there you have it. That whole monologue is called We Want Our Cities Back. And yes, we do. I love living in a smaller town. I do. I love the space. I love the ability to move around freely and not be jammed up in traffic all the time and all those things that come in a small town. But I love our big cities too. I like visiting them. But right now, I have no desire to go to some of them, and that's a shame. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. We are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Solid conservative and just plain right. Like making it cool to be a conservative. Text lines are open. Text lines and call lines, all the same number for both. 833-687-4448. That's 833-68-RIGHT. Yeah, text it or call it. Love to get your feedback right now. I got a few that are dropping in already. 833-68-RIGHT. Morgan from Fort Myers. Oh, it's a long text. Let's see what we got here. He says, Phil, I'm a refugee from Portland, Oregon. Left 21 years ago. I bet it's changed a lot since then too, bud. He says, I'm a refugee from Portland, Oregon. Left 20 years ago when I saw how bad things were getting, and I knew it was not a place where I wanted to raise my sons. To see what has happened, like dreadful liberal policies, is really just sad to me. It is wonderful. It's a wonderful city to grow up in the 70s and early 80s. But when I went back about 6 years ago for a visit, it was not the city that I grew up in enjoying. I enjoy living in South Florida now, not exactly a small town, but smaller than where I came from. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else but the South. I appreciate you, man. And yes, been here a long time, but still, nonetheless, welcome to the South. David from Huntsville. Says, Phil, I gave, what? This is not even on topic, I don't think. He says, I gave NPR another chance after years of being away, turned on the radio morning edition. News person opened with the murder of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. Oh, he's on my monologue. I get it. He says, I changed the station. NPR is still the same biased media. Witnesses said his hands were never up and Michael Brown was the aggressor. Yeah. Yeah. David from Huntsville. Glad you're back, David. Mac from Athens, your monologue was sad but right on, I think is what he's trying to say. I've lived in two big cities, loved the cool events. It was exciting. Now I believe Sweet Home Alabama is one of the last beautiful oases in the United States. I thank God daily for our wonderful Bible belt of common sense. Mac in Athens. Appreciate you, man. Frank from Huntsville. Mayor Rudy Giuliani turned New York around and places like Brooklyn became a safe place. Look what the libs have done to him. I know, man. It's awful. It's just they're going to tear him down and tear the city down at the same time. JT, Lacey Springs, his early 2000s co-worker's son and family lived in New Jersey. Commute daily was about 2.5 hours. They moved and rented 1,200 square feet of house in New York City, $4,000 a month. Wow. Yeah, that was a few years back. John from Huntsville says, Phil, fantastic monologue. Also, did you hear? Here we go, see? Also, did you hear that Joe Biden challenged Donald Trump to a debate? Yes, I did. And a debate in September, in June and September, and Donald Trump accepted his debate challenge, including all of his crazy demands. By the way, Phil, you've completed the Triple Dipper 2 days in a row. So since today is a Grand Council day, I suggest you use some of Dale Jackson's time to start the next Dipper on the list. Excuse me, Dale, I'm going to stop you there. I need to start my Dipper so I can get my points in. Jeff from Indiana says, Phil, the problem with big cities is they are filled with idiots. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, looking for a different outcome. And as long as these people keep voting for Democrats, the outcome's not going to change. I would tend to agree with that. Absolutely. Yeah, back on that breaking news. So this morning, if you have not already heard, the Biden team threw down the gauntlet. And I put on social media a little while ago. So Biden's got a 14-second video. 14 seconds. 14-second video, which looks like it has at least 7 edits in it. Like, okay, it's only a 14-second video. How many takes did you have to go through to get it done? But every few seconds there's another jump in the screen which tells you they're doing an edit of some kind, and it could just be they edited his viewpoint, but not really the vantage point. I mean, it was also Angry Joe. I love it when Angry Joe shows up. Angry Joe, gonna tell you how it is. Hey, no joke. Okay, big guy. Anyway, but then I thought this was classless. He had the audacity to say, I'll debate him anytime, whatever else. We're not scared. And then he says, and I hear you're free on Wednesdays. You know what that is? That's the day they don't have trial. So he's up there having to go through all this lawfare stuff. And you're going to have the current president of the United States jabbing at it like that? That is just absolutely classless. But yeah, the breaking news is the Biden the Biden campaign team has put out their request for a June and September debate. And the June and September debates would also be pretty heavily moderated. There's some things they want: smaller crowds. They want microphones off when you're not speaking, so you can't just interrupt. I mean, it's whatever. Take it and run, man. But I think that they're going to have a little trouble getting Joe on the stage with Trump. I think it's going to be tough. But they're going to do it, apparently, now. And Trump's already accepted. So, whoop, whoop, here we go. We'll see how it is. All right, listen, we're about to take a break. We're coming right back. We're going to jump on into Dipper number 1, the war on women. New stuff happening with, everything in the world to do with making sure that women don't feel like they have any rights left. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid conservative and just plain right. Wow, covering down on some major ground across the northern half of the most beautiful state in the nation. This one right here, Alabama. Y'all, I'm talking about this show goes way down south of Birmingham, up north of Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, back to Gadsden, parts of Georgia, Tennessee, and even Mississippi. All thrown in just for good measure. Jeremy from Huntsville says, will there be drug testing for doping before the presidential debates? I don't know if he can get through it without that. I mean, the amount of stuff they must give him every once in a while to jazz him up. Anyway. Raven from Russellville says, Colonel, I think Tar and Feathers need to make a comeback. Whoo! Now we're talking about some deterrence. And let's see here. And then Ronnie from Danville's asking me for legal advice. No, Ronnie, we're not doing that right now. All right, so First Dipper, the war on women. I started this yesterday, and I had a slightly different theme then. I was talking about the fact that, we had just very briefly towards the end of the day, I had the opportunity to start getting into that that information that I had gathered up, and then more stuff happened overnight, and I thought I gotta expand this. So yesterday, with regards to war on women, I talked about the fact that if we're going to say we're pro-life, we have to be pro-life even outside of the womb. It can't just be that we're pro-life inside the womb, and if they'll keep the child, then we're like, good, see ya, love it and leave it. There you go. No, we're not going. We can't do that. We got to re-grab the message. And I had that audio clip from U.S. Senator Katie Britt about the bill that she's got that would, help moms who determine not to have an abortion, and how liberals are freaking out over it. I want to go down a different road today. The other piece of the war on women right now, one of the other pieces of the war on women right now, is the question of what's happening with Title IX. And just to remind you guys, Title IX is federal law instituted more than 50 years ago that was designed to protect women from sex discrimination in places where federal funding is used, like schools and that kind of thing. And it was designed to make sure that women had not equity, but equality of opportunity. And so women's sports has to be given as much capability and opportunity as men's. You've got to be able to say that someone didn't lose their job or gain their job, lose their job or lose their promotion because of being a female. And there's all kinds of other things built in there that deal with prohibiting discrimination. And now the Biden administration has decided, you know what, since we don't know what a woman is, we're going to go ahead and open up Pandora's box and say that Title IX is really about women. It's about men who think they're women. It's about women who don't know what they are. It's about people who believe that they are nothing, like non-binary. It's about everything under the sun except for men. It's just unbelievable what they're doing. And they're doing this in no small way. It's being challenged. We'll get into that in a minute. But folks, what boggles my mind is how we are able to see people with a straight face argue for their position on some of this. Okay, let me just go to an article that I pulled off of CNN. It's a rather chunky one, big article, lots of pages, lots of words, lots of important things to say. Not really. It's a big write-up. 4 separate authors contributed to the story about Megan Cortez-Fields. Okay, I already get a little leery. Like I told you, I get a little leery when I see the hyphenated name. The hyphenated name to me is a red flag. I realize there may be some good, solid, red meat, conservative, hyphenated name people out there, but generally speaking, when I see the hyphenated name, I'm like, yup, I could lay money on this and have good odds it's a liberal. Anyway, competitive swimmer Megan Cortez-Fields, that's Megan Cortez-Fields, knows how high the stakes can be in a sport where mere hundredths of a second can mean the difference. Megan Cortez-Fields says, I was afraid that if I was able to win, all my successes would be discredited because I was, you guessed it, trans. Megan Cortez-Fields is a senior on the women's swim team at New Jersey's Ramapo College. Okay, let's correct the record on some of this. CNN says her and she, and he ain't a her or a she. CNN also points out there's a women's swim team, and all that Megan Cortez-Fields wants to do is to swim on the women's swim team. It's a dream. As an NCAA competitor, it says, Cortez-Fields underwent more than a year of hormone therapy, blood tests, and testosterone tracking to meet the association's transgender athlete guidelines and achieve his dream of swimming alongside women. It says other women, but I took out the other. How about this? If you have to go through hormone therapy, blood tests, and testosterone tracking to be allowed to do something, then it may be because you're not the something that you want to be allowed to be. The National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics, the NAIA, voted to effectively ban trans women from competing in most of women's sports programs. So this is not going to be the NCAA, the tier ones, the D1 schools, but it's still very important. It's very robust. There's a lot of schools that take part in the NAIA. But then here we go. You ready? It quotes somebody named Marcy Smith, who's opposed to the transgender ideologies. And it says, critics like Smith argue that transgender women, transgenders, I can't even read this right because every time I turn around, there's a new way to incorrectly state things, and I don't want to keep saying it. But it says, critics like Smith argue that transgenders, even those who have undergone treatment to lower their testosterone levels, have unfair physical advantages that would deprive cisgender women of opportunities to succeed. Well, let's correct the record again. There is no argument. Critics like Smith argue that transgender, they're not arguing. They are stating a matter of fact. A mere statement of fact is not an argument, it is a statement of fact. If I tell you the sky is blue, you can't look at me and say the sky is green. All I have to do is look up and go, I'm sorry, the sky is blue. It's a statement of fact. Critics like Smith are not arguing the points of their side of the argument because they don't see the need for the argument to begin with. But then they go on and say, even when they've undergone treatments to lower their testosterone levels, they're still claiming they have unfair physical advantages. Well, if you're having to fight to be different than what you are, then perhaps you should just be what you are. I mean, the logic or the illogic of these particular arguments, it's inane, man. It's absolutely beyond the pale. But it gets better. But transgender athletes, the CNN authors say with great alacrity, transgender athletes and their advocates point to a lack of consistent and direct research to support their claims. To support the claims against them, I mean. They say they call them trans women, deserve the right to compete alongside their peers. How about no? And let me ask you this. They created the issue, and now they want new research to help substantiate the issue they created. That's what you just heard. Transgender athletes and their advocates point to a lack of consistent direct research to support the claims against them. So do we need a new study to find out whether water is wet? That's where we are. I'm sorry, Phil. I've decided that water is not wet. And until you can show me some research to the contrary, that's where we are, folks. It is to that point. They are literally saying that the undeniable is now deniable, and the truth is no longer the truth. It is flexible. And there are always going to be those arguments. And folks, listen, you don't have to buy into it. You don't. And I know we talk on the show, and all you ruffians out there, you're like, I don't. No, I'm saying in life in general, you're allowed to look at them and say, I refuse to take part in your delusion. I don't have to. I'm a woman. No, actually, you're not. You can't say that to me. Don't you misgender me. I didn't misgender you, dude. I didn't. Do we need a new study to say that water is wet? Because that's where we are. They need a new study to say that transgenders may not be, a thing to worry about in women's sports. Well, they just are. It's also wrong. on a variety of levels. Like, I don't know, how about privacy in the locker room? How about just propriety? How about just simple, recognition that there is a biology? It's a science. It's a thing. And then just go ahead and dig into the faith-based piece if you want to, too. God doesn't make mistakes. The underlying premise of transgender ideology is that God has made a mistake from day one and that the body does not match what the inside is supposed to be. Therefore, it was a mistake. And therefore, it must be changed. And therefore, God cannot be right. Why would I ever listen to the God who made the mistake of me? God doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't. Goes on to say, trans women athletes, including Cortez-Fields, say competing alongside other women is a crucial step toward other women. I did it again. I try to catch myself from, Big Rig's giving me the look. I try to catch myself from saying this stuff, and it comes out anyway. Toward feeling like their authentic selves and can help combat feelings of isolation. Now, let me say this. This is part of transgender ideology. There's no other mental disorder out there that requires healthy people to have to submit their own well-being to the one who's trying to recover. Do you hear what I'm saying? The alcoholic is not required to have you drink so that he can feel better about his alcoholism. The person who is depressed is not required to bring you down so that you can then identify with their depression. There is no other mental disorder out there right now that requires healthy people to have to submit their own well-being to the one who is not well, except for transgenderism. You have to identify, and you have to let me in your locker room, and you have to deny yourself your own sense of personal security, and you have to go ahead and give me your gold medal for the award that I want, and you have to deny yourself the scholarship, and you have to go ahead and tell your children, you better tell your children because that's the way it is. And I'm just saying, there's no other mental disorder out there that requires healthy people to have to submit their own well-being to the actual one who has the disorder in the first place. It's asinine. Apparently I need a break. Oh, Lord.
See the passion.
Lord Jesus. All right, yeah, we're gonna keep it going though, man. We're on the war on women. This makes me mad. This is absolutely nuts, man. It's just go ahead and take it to the break, brother. But yeah, I mean, think about it. How many mental disorders out there in the world are you required to take part in because the patient needs you to? The only one out there is transgenderism. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Solid, conservative, and just plain right. Just making common sense like a superpower. By the way, I was talking about that article from CNN, that fairly comprehensive article. You'll be happy to know that Cortez-Fields broke 2 school records and placed second in the 100-yard butterfly. Successes that he says were scrutinized by anti-trans groups. You think? Like you just suddenly you compete and suddenly you're setting records? How can this be? Pray tell. I thought we needed more research to make sure that water was still wet. Let me take some text messages here and see what all we got. Raven from Russellville again says trans women are men. I agree with you. Trans women's peers are men. Gotcha. Yes, indeed. And then he says Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man aren't real. Neither are transgenders. Simple as that. Brian from Bluntsville says, Brian from Bluntsville here. Peru's government officially classified trans, non-binary, and intersex as mentally ill. I saw that today, as a matter of fact. I think Libs from TikTok actually put that out. And then we got a new texter. Doesn't say where they're from or what their name is yet, so we need it. So I think the transgender crowd ought to come up with their own organization for their own sports with their own funded scholarships and compete against each other and leave everybody else alone.
That's what I'm saying.
That's rather isolationist. I just don't know about this. But no, that's generally speaking what everybody thinks.
They want to be included, though. That's their thing.
If you want to go, downgrade your testosterone and add parts and remove parts and then run against other people who downgraded their testosterone and added parts and removed parts, go for it. Jeff from Indiana says, Phil, I can't wait till mermaids become a big thing. But the problem is you're probably going to have a fishing license to take one home. Gary from Decatur says, have you heard that misuse of pronouns in Scotland is now a crime? Yes, it is. In fact, that's a big deal because J.K. Rowling, the author of all the Harry Potter books, has been very outspoken on that and said, you know what, then take me to jail because I have no intention of playing this game. And they didn't know what to do because suddenly they had a massive celebrity, one of the most famous authors in modern time right now, who just basically laughed at them and said, I'm going home to my beloved Scotland, and if you want to arrest me because I just pointed out that man over there is actually not really a man, or that woman over there is not really a woman, then you can just take me to jail. And they didn't. They're like, we'll get back to you. But it's a ridiculous law. Paul from Huntsville says trans women should be able to compete against their peers, trans women. There you go. That's the second person that caught that. Very good. Marcus from Huntsville says they should take these trans men, and ask them why we have women's sports. Then ask them why they are not trying to abolish women's sports and just have co-ed competitions. I would love to know why they think there are men's and women's sports if they don't think they have an unfair advantage. See, here's the problem with that, Marcus. You're using common sense in your argument. That's where you got it wrong, brother.
They don't like common sense.
No, common sense is...
It's kryptonite.
It's antithetical to their truth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, can't do that. So finish up this article before at the top of the hour. By the way, don't forget, we'll have, after the top of the hour, Emily Trahan's going to join us and jump in on this topic with us. And then she and I are going to conclude by talking about some stuff happening this weekend that she and I are both a part of. Hey, the Journal of Sports Medicine, same article, CNN, the Journal of Sports Medicine found no direct or consistent research showing that trans people have advantages. Well, now, since the Journal of Sports Medicine has spoken, I think we can all stop and just recognize that water is no longer wet. A more recent October 2023 review concluded that sex differences do develop following puberty. Are they getting paid for this research? Are they published? Is this all peer-reviewed kind of stuff like, hey, I'm a doctoral candidate and I have peer-reviewed writings. Really? What'd you write on? Well, I wrote a piece where I suggested that sex differences do actually develop after puberty. Oh, wow. Pretty sure they occur at birth, too. How about that? Anyway, the end result of this is Title IX has now been just ransacked by the Biden administration. Ransacked. Absolutely ransacked by the Biden administration. What they're trying to do is say that all the things I just talked about, the true common sense that is being thrown out in order to accommodate somebody's mental disorder, that those things are no longer considered alien. Why? Because Biden has said so. when his Secretary of Education issued his interpretations of what Title IX means, which, by the way, does not have the binding effect of law, but they do control who writes the checks. How about that? They control who writes the checks, and they want you to know that, you know what, you're going to do it our way, or we're not going to send you that money your school otherwise would have qualified for. Unbelievable. All right, coming back next, we'll talk to Emily Trahan about her thoughts on some of this, because she's an actual woman. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. Alabama's syndicated news talk leader, Rightside Radio. Phil Williams here live in the Rightside studios. Man, we got the local, the state, the national, covering down on all of the issues. And oh yeah, like the dude just said, solid, conservative, and just plain right. Well, welcome to hour number 2 on Hump Day. And listen, I've been in the last little while here, I've been dealing with Dipper number 1 of the Triple Dipper, the war on women. And I thought, you know what? Might as well bring a woman on and have an opinion. Well, I found a woman who has an opinion. And Emily, who works with the Dale Jackson Show, is on the line right now. Hey, Emily, how you doing?
Phil, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And by the way, first of all, I got to say, you are like the head cat wrangler for the Dale Jackson Show. You are the one who keeps the ships like moving forward in even keel. Am I correct?
Possibly. I think my biggest job is just to remind Dale of things. You know, he's super busy, wears a lot of hats. So I just try to remind him of, hey, we've got this coming up, or hey, we need to do this.
No, that's not what I heard, Emily. What I actually heard, I saw it on social media, and it's on the internet, therefore it must be true, is that the reason why Dale Jackson has been successful is because of you. That's what I heard. That's what I heard anyway.
For the past 2 months, I guess.
Well, hey, before we jump into, by the way, Emily and I are going to be both at a event this coming weekend, and she's the head wrangler for that too. But before I jump into that, I've been in this Dipper for a bit here, talking about the war on women is what I'm calling it. Give me your unvarnished thoughts.
You know, I have a lot of thoughts on this. I have a lot of thoughts from, how God's created us to mental health issues and things like that. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, there are things that are uniquely beautiful and wonderful about women, and there are things that are uniquely beautiful and wonderful about men. And to do anything to diminish those wonderful aspects of our creation, it's sad to me. It's very sad.
Well, it is sad. It's sad, and at some point, though, I think it's actionable at the same time. Actionable meaning we have to take action against it. I mean, at some point, you can look at something and go, "I'm sorry that happened to you." Other times, we look at things and go, "I can no longer allow that to happen to you." I mean, that's. I think this is in that category.
In the actionable category,
yeah.
I lean towards agreeing with that. I have a 17-year-old daughter who's graduating high school this weekend, and I have a 2-year-old little girl. And so being the mother of 2 girls, safety in locker rooms is a concern for me. Should my youngest want to grow up and go into sports and things like that, I know that's an issue of Title IX and all of that's going on right now. But, I want her to have every opportunity in life, and I want her to have a fair shot at things. And I think when you put her into a category where, if somebody is just physically more superior in something, then, where's the fair shot in that?
No, there is no fair shot. And then you also have to deal with the sense of personal security. The law of Alabama, and I'm sure most states are the same, actually allows that you can have a reasonable expectation of privacy and security in places like locker rooms and that kind of thing. And they just completely blow that off, completely disregard it altogether. And sometimes you see it from an official governmental standpoint. Other things, it's like, private entities like Planet Fitness decide they want to just like redo and make public policy as private entities. But I mean, where do we go from here? Because right now you've got lawsuits being filed left and right, but as a private citizen, as a mom, how do you address it?
I think I address it in my household with making sure my girls are safe in whatever they venture out to do. And then beyond that, I think while lawsuits get worked out, while laws get amended or changed, the only other way people seem to feel the consequences of their actions on a business level is to affect them where it hurts them the most, and that's their pocketbook. So with the Planet Fitness situation, no lie, Phil. My kid sister and I were talking about joining Planet Fitness at the beginning of the year.
Oh yeah,
because the beginning of the year, and you make resolutions, and you're working on health, and and all that stuff. And it's like, if you get a black card and I get a black card, then our husbands can go from time to time, but you and I can go work out because our schedules are weird and flexible, and we can visit with each other and we can work on our health. And then all this stuff started coming out, and it was just the reaction from the company to its patrons was troubling.
Yeah.
And then it got me thinking, where can change start? And change can start by I know where my dollars are going. I know what my hard-earned income is going to support, and if they can't provide an environment that I feel comfortable and safe in, I don't have to go there. I don't have to get a membership there. So, we do have the opportunity to affect people in the financial side of things while the common sense hopefully returns to our country.
Yeah, well, no doubt. And I think that's the exact point that needs to be made is we don't have to buy into the ideology. Now, there's times, though, when it gets super frustrating. Like for instance, you hear about Riley Gaines a lot. I don't know if you met her when she was in Huntsville not long ago, but my wife and I got a chance to meet her. Just a dynamic personality, very sharp. But she makes the point that she was already swimming on scholarship, and now she's stuck with having to compete because the other team brought this Leah Thomas person, transgender, to swim against her. And she's having no choice but to either forfeit her competition through no fault of her own, or just run the risk that she can compete and win. And it's maddening when other people are putting you in the situation, not you personally, but putting us in the situation of having to deal with it as opposed to giving us an opportunity in advance to think it through. Planet Fitness, you can think through in advance. Your kids show up at the swim meet and there's a transgender on the opposite team you didn't know was coming. It's a whole different ballgame.
That's true. I like to go. This topic has so many facets to it, and one of those is lack of mental health care in the country, the way it's declined just in my lifetime in the last, 30, 38, 39? How old am I, Bill? I don't remember. But, in the last 30 years, the decline of mental health care accessibility for folks, and then, the shift in our society that it's I, me, I control my happiness, I can do this, I can do that. It's great to feel positive about yourself and to embrace your personality and stuff like that, but you don't get to change the way that you were created. Now, when you start to suffer from mental health issues, be it depression, be it body dysmorphia, or believing, that you're a cat, because we've had stuff like that happen in the county where I live. Kids at school that identify as a cat. It's bizarre, but it sheds a light on something I think that is much more problematic in the country, and that's the lack of access to appropriate mental health care.
I would agree with that. I think it also goes to the other side of the coin, and that is that there's a demand right now within the transgender ideology that we have to accept. In other words, I said earlier in the show, I'm not sure you heard it or not, but that there's no other mental disorder that I can think of where everyone else is required to take part in the mental disorder with them, as opposed to resisting on their behalf and encouraging them out of it. Like depression, no one else is going to say, I'm depressed, therefore I need all of you to be depressed with me, so you can identify. And it's not supposed to work that way. And yet transgenderism says, you have to believe, and you have to also accommodate, and you have to participate with me, otherwise I'm not well then. And that's an amazing dichotomy.
Mm-hmm. And there's that phrase of this is my truth.
Oh yeah.
And I try to understand. A long time ago, I accepted that there are things in life that I'll never understand. And that's part of my faith, that God's got a plan and He works everything out, and I don't have to understand everything that happens in this life. But so I spend time trying to understand where is this coming from, or like what is the motivation behind this and stuff like that. And I just this is my truth. It's like you said earlier, so you could be standing next to someone and they point up to the sky and say, Phil, the sky is green. And you're like, no, it's blue. It's a fact. It's blue, you know? But their truth is that the sky is green. And who are you to tell them that their truth is wrong? It's frustrating because you want to have respect for everybody and treat everybody in a loving fashion. But sometimes you just get really frustrated.
And sometimes you get a radio show and just do it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Emily, I appreciate you calling in today. We're going to take a quick break and we'll come back. You and I are both at an event this weekend. You're one of the chief coordinators for it. I want to lay that thing out there because it kind of celebrates some folks who have been doing great things in our community for 80 years. All right? Mm-hmm. All right. We'll be right back. Emily, who is the reason why Dale Jackson's ever had any success in his life, is now on the air with us. And we'll take a break right now. And you tell him I said that, too. And we'll be right back.
I will.
We are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Solid conservative and just plain right. Just making common sense like a superpower up in here. Hey, we're going right back to the phones. Emily from the Dale Jackson Show is on the line, but that's not your only gig in the world, Emily. You got some event coordination that you do. Talk to us about this coming weekend. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah, it's a big weekend in Huntsville as we celebrate the 80th anniversary of Star Market in historic Five Points. 80 years that it's been at 702 Pride Avenue, and we'll be celebrating with the Victory Bells from the World War II Museum in New Orleans. They're coming to put on a great show. Phil, you'll be there. Lieutenant General Thurgood will be there to speak as well. Great Star Market ribeye dinner will be served, and just a good time for fellowship and celebrating 80 years of Star Market.
Which, by the way, you don't see, I'm trying to think of how many brick and mortar stores are out there that I can even think of that have been in one place for 30 years, much less 80 years. That's pretty epic.
Exactly.
Well,
it's really fantastic, especially with the way that it started. The net proceeds from the event go to still serving veterans and the work they do on a local level in Huntsville. Star Market was founded by Mr. Russell and Mr. Williams, and when Mr. Russell was discharged from the Navy, they gave him $200. He took his $200, and his buddy that was a butcher with him at a shop in Huntsville borrowed $200 from his wife's family, and that $400 is what started Star Market.
That's just crazy when you stop and think about what it takes these days to, I don't know, start a lemonade stand, much less starting a store that can be there for 80 years. Well, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great night. I'm proud to have the opportunity to be working as the MC for you that night. And are folks still able to get tickets, or are y'all sold out now?
We're getting close, so I'd encourage folks to go ahead and get their tickets, and they can do so in multiple ways. You can go to HuntsvilleStarMarket.com and click on the Gala tab, and it'll take you to where you can buy tickets. But you can also get them whenever you're at Star Market. It's a location in Five Points or in Meridianville. You can also pick them up at any Star Pharmacy location. And if you are, if you have your military ID, you get a discount. So don't sleep on those tickets. Go ahead and get them before they're all snatched up.
Yeah, because the event's only a couple of days away. Well, I am sure looking forward to it. I'm honored that y'all would ask me to be a part of it. And the Victory Bells, in case folks don't know, tell them what they are.
The Victory Bells, they're so great. They're reminiscent of like an Andrews Sisters performance. They have beautiful harmonies. They do a lot of those World War II era classics. And they put on a really, really great, really entertaining show. They'll get audience participation as well. So very happy to have them coming up from New Orleans to perform for us. They perform all over the globe. So to have them in Huntsville is really quite outstanding. No,
it really is. Well, listen, that's to celebrate Star Supermarket. They got 80 years and 5 points. The event is this coming Saturday night. It's coat and tie affair, too. I got to wear my Sunday go-to-meeting clothes, right?
Yeah, yes, Phil, yes. I'll turn you away if you don't.
All right. Hey, Emily, thanks so much for being on today, and thanks for the opportunity to be with you guys on Saturday night at the gala supporting still serving veterans and honoring Star Market's 80 years. All right?
All right. Thanks, Phil. Thanks for having me, and we look forward to seeing you.
Okay. Talk to you soon. Yeah, that's going to be a great night, by the way. I am so looking forward to this. So if you didn't hear it, by the way, you can still get tickets. I didn't know that. I thought they were sold out, but they're pretty close, she says. So if you want to go, this is a big doings event. I mean, this is honoring, one of those legacy places that if you're like me, if you've been around Huntsville like any number of years, like all my life for the most part, and it's just cool to know that there are still those institutions, those brick and mortar institutions that are serving the community. And sure, they're making a living doing it. I know that's part of it. But they don't endure for 80 years simply because they're trying to make a buck for themselves. They endure for 80 years because they are appealing to the broader community, and the community responds to it by bringing back their business. And so I'm looking forward to this. And still serving veterans, we've had them on the show before, so it's kind of a twofer here for me. Still Serving Veterans is a great organization. Good buddy of mine Bill Holtzclaw. After he left the Senate, he was on staff with Still Serving Veterans for a while. They are an organization that finds ways to plug veterans in and help them to find true engagement in the process, finding jobs and doing other things that veterans need, not even knowing that some services are out there to help them. Still Serving Veterans is a great organization, and so I'm loving the fact that Star Market is having a gala event to celebrate its own existence, but every dollar goes to help a veterans organization. So I mean, it's like the best of all worlds for me. That plus a steak. I'm pretty stoked. Charlene and I are going to be there Saturday night. Y'all check it out if you want to come. I got a bunch of text messages I'll be getting back to as soon as we get back from this break. But apparently the whole transgenderism thing, I didn't even get to my stack, man. I got like 9 stories I didn't even get to. But apparently this one developed some reaction. Just saying. Like, lots of reaction. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Solid, conservative, and just plain right. Like covering down on some major ground across the northern half of the most beautiful state in the nation. This one right here. I'm talking about Alabama, and I mean like y'all. This show goes way on down south of Birmingham and up north of Huntsville and Tuscaloosa, back to Gadsden, parts of Georgia, Tennessee, and even Mississippi. All thrown in just for good measure. Hey, by the way, I got to tell you, if you're listening during the breaks and you hear the ads playing, that's an important piece of what keeps this business alive. Because yes, indeedy, Rightside Radio is owned by Rightside Media. We are a business entity unto ourselves, and it's amazing all the things that go into just having a radio show. But we also now have podcasts, and we have streaming podcasts, and we have a written op-ed that comes out in multiple newspapers around the state every week. And it's all on our website, rightsideradio.org. But selling ads is a part of what we do in order to sustain all that. Okay, man. So let me just encourage you, if you're a Rightside ruffian, you got a business that sells goods or services, just listen to, we have tens of thousands of avid Rightside ruffians who listen every single week, who much more rather would buy from one of y'all than to buy from somebody else. So if you want to advertise on Rightside, captive audience, here we are. Contact us directly to do it. You contact us through the website, rightsideradio.org. Send us a message on the advertising tab. Lauren from Rightside will get back to you ASAP, and we'll square you away. We'd love to get you on the team. Go to rightsideradio.org. I got a bunch of text messages, and I still got a little bit of material left I want to cover in this dipper too. I will say this. I really appreciate the fact that we've got an attorney general who attacks these issues in the manner in which I would want to see them attacked, like head on, like no equivocating. He goes at it. Piece came out here just a couple weeks ago. Attorney General Steve Marshall filed a lawsuit challenging Biden's rule to redefine sex as a gender identity. Because that's what happened. Title IX used to say basically on the basis of sex. Now it's on the basis of gender identity, meaning whatever you happen to be at the moment. What is your flavor of the month? We'll work with that. Are you a furry? We can work with that. Are you non-binary, gender queer? We can work with it. Just tell us what you want to be. We'll work with it. No, we don't have to do that. That's like all the colors, all the light in the spectrum has just been bent. Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall filed a federal lawsuit challenging the Biden administration's recently announced Title IX rule, which would change the meaning of sex and gender identity and effectively abolish female-only bathrooms and locker rooms in schools across America. He's one of many states, but I said before on the show, and you may recall, that Attorney General Steve Marshall of Alabama is the president of the Republican Attorneys General Association across the nation. So sometimes he leads these cases. Sometimes they delegate. Sometimes he says, who's going to be the next guy? I'll take it. Okay, I'll do it. This time he decided to lead this one himself. He says, since taking office, Joe Biden has brazenly attempted to use federal funding to force radical gender ideologies onto states that reject it at the ballot box. Now our school children are the target. There you go. The threat is that if Alabama's public schools and universities do not conform, then the federal government will take away our funding. Rest assured, Biden will not be successful. I love that. That was the challenge right there. That was him basically saying, I intend to stand in the way of that. That's your attorney general, by the way. He went on to say, Alabama parents do not share the Biden administration's goal of a genderlessness in our schools. They remember what happened in places like Loudoun County, Virginia, and other schools across the country, when government sacrificed the needs and the concerns of every female student to accommodate a few males. I am pleased to be among the first to challenge this ill-conceived rule. Good on him. And by the way, I have great hope that this challenge from the legal perspective is going to be successful. Here's the other thing. I don't think that Biden's going to be in office again after this year. If you remember, back in the first election was 2016, right? So 2016 election, I was in the office. I was in the state senate, and I've said before on the show, I was the only guy in the Alabama State Senate willing to do this. But you remember when Target started doing transgender bathrooms, and everybody's like, wait a minute, what you're gonna do? What? Yeah, we're a corporation. We can do whatever we want to do, so we're going to do that. Well, I felt like that was a violation of Alabama law. Nobody wanted to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So I did. And I got all kinds of heat, man. It was called the bathroom bill. Williams is trying to put monitors in your bathroom. And the same thing they did with don't say gay bills. They just made stuff up out of whole cloth. Williams is going to try and make sure that you've got a monitor to see who you are. What are they going to do? Check in your pants before you walk in the bathroom? I mean, it was just unreal. Unbelievable. I even had some conservative radio guys whose names will go unmentioned at the moment, who took me to task and said that I was trying to create a solution for a problem that did not exist. Well, how do you like me now? The thing is, I didn't have to pursue it because Trump got elected. And all that came to a screeching halt. You know why? Because policies matter. Leadership matters. And I guarantee you, Trump gets elected, and this Title IX debacle immediately goes back to where it was. Bam, like maybe overnight. Like, let's stop playing. Do not stop. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Just go straight to jail. You're done. All right, let me get some text messages before I run out of time. John from Huntsville says, Phil, I have a question that's probably going to make some people mad, but if it's okay for a woman to join the men's wrestling team, football team, or qualify for a man's golf tournament, why can't a man join the LPGA Tour or any other women's sports leagues? Well, you bring up a point, John. You know why? Because of the disparity in the two. The reason why is if you go on any LPGA tour, you will find that the tee boxes are in a different place than they would be for the men. If you go to a women's wrestling and you bring in the 200-pound man, you're going to find that the disparity is great, such that it could even cause damage to the other person. So if you're looking at it from strictly a standpoint of, well, they do it to us, why can't we do it to them? Then I guess you could argue that. But the reality is, what we're really saying here is because it doesn't work, period.
I think Michelle had a good point. She said, even better, I think we should demand men be allowed to compete in the transgender organization. So if they had their own organization, then why can't we? Why can't we compete in their sports?
Oh, that would be a hoot. Yeah, that would.
Where's the equal opportunity there?
You can't be here. This is our place now. Yeah. This is our safe place. I feel triggered because you showed up. That's what would happen. I guarantee it's what would happen. By the way, there was that thing we had on the show last year, and it was a hockey game. I need to look this up, but the NHL, National Hockey League, decided it'd be a great idea to have transgender hockey night. I kid you not. And I'm trying to think, was it in Detroit or was it, anyway, one of the major metro areas? Transgender hockey night. And so they had two teams. One called itself like the Blacks and the other one was the Pinks. Well, the one team was dudes that think they're women and the other women was women that think they're dudes. I will just go ahead and tell you, it did not go well for the women who think they're dudes because they got jacked.
Oh, I bet.
One of them got checked on the board so hard and hit the ice that it cracked her skull.
Hockey's no joke, man.
No, hockey's no joke. And the idea that you're going to, just because you say you're a man means suddenly you have the skills of a guy who is, a foot and a half taller and weighs an extra 75 pounds, not going to happen. It defies logic, common sense. It defies physics. It defies biology. All of it. All of it. What else have I got? Who'd you read? That was Michelle, you said?
Michelle from, it disappeared.
Okay. Aaron from Decatur says, Steve Marshall does good on national issues, but he allows cities to keep illegal no-gun signs. Aaron, that is about as singular of a issue for you to pick out. And by the way, Steve Marshall does not allow them to keep illegal no-gun signs. If the Attorney General of the state has to go to every Walmart to find out whether they have a sign on the wall, then his job is never going to get done. So I don't agree. What do I got here? Next one, G. Morris. Is it G from Morris, Alabama? Yeah, G from Morris, Alabama. Just G? G. Yep. Initial G. All right. I'm a straight white male, but I want to identify as a gay black woman. Do I get a socially acceptable pass for this? Sure. I will just go ahead and assume that somebody out there, not me, but somebody out there is going to say, I will adhere to your wishes and you can be a gay black woman. which means that you should be able to go to San Francisco and get some reparations or something. I mean, that's the way this works. That's the rules, right? I'm pretty sure that's the way it works. Andrew from Tony says, by the way, get that person's name and I don't think we have the. Did you ask him yet? No. Yeah, G. Morris. That's right. Andrew from Tony says, could the Democrats throw Biden into this debate to highlight health issues in an effort to drop him as a candidate? Sure, man. That's a novel theory, except they set one of them in September. So one's in June, one's in September after they've already had the DNC, the National Convention. So if they're going for just the June, like, all right, set 2 dates. Pretend we're doing 2. Here's the plan, fellas. Ready? Everybody huddle up. We're doing 2 debates. Just tell the boss we're doing 2. He's going to do so bad in the 1, the 2 will never happen. It'll be perfect. Possible. Anything's possible. Right now, though, I think they're going to ride that old horse all the way through to the tape. Penny from Boaz says, lying used to be a bad thing. Today it's not only expected, it's demanded. Talking about transgenderism, I guess. Has anybody studied to see if female abort? Don't you telling me? And anyway, I think you're voice texting to me, Penny, and it ain't working. Okay, I'll have to come back to it. I cannot even figure out what she's trying to say. Penny, thanks for the text. Raven from Russellville. Colonel, here's a news flash for all the liberals. There's only 2 sexes, no matter what they do to themselves. Their sex doesn't change unless doctors have figured out a way to change chromosomes, XX and XY, in the story. He always lays it out real clear. Roger from Ardmore says, if someone is confused about whether they are male or female, Stormy Daniels will be glad to check it out for you. Wow. I'm going to leave that one sitting right there. Matt from Cherokee. I saw Matt from Cherokee. That's right. He sent me a thing right before the show, and I answered it. So you're welcome, Matt. Josh from Hayden. A couple more here, and I'm done. Says, Josh from Hayden here. The trans should have to pay our taxes. What? I don't think being trans means they stop paying taxes, dude. I'm really not sure where that came from.
He said pay our taxes.
Pay our taxes, like mine and yours?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Josh, I'm pretty sure you better either qualify this one or just recognize that we don't know what you're talking about. What do we got here? The last one, Michelle from Madison, is the one you already read to me. All right, listen, that's a lot, man. We just jammed in a bunch. We'll take the break. We'll come right back and get this break done. I will wrap this topic, and then coming up top of the hour, we jump on over the Grand Council with me and Jeff Poore and Dale Jackson. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid conservative and just plain right. Wow, making it cool to be a conservative, saving the world one soundbite at a time. Hey, by the way, in this final words in this this whole thing we got about the Title IX, the war on women, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who for all practical purposes seems to be doing a bang-up job right now as the governor of Arkansas. I'm enjoying seeing her work. Every time she has come to the microphone, I have found myself agreeing, and it's not often that I can say that. Like I've got Governor Kemp next door in Georgia. He's a Republican, but half the time I'm like, oh, come on, dude. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, so far I'm a fan. I see a bright future for her, and I hope that's the case. But she recently came out when this Title IX thing happened, right at 2 weeks ago. She was one of the first governors to go loud and proud against it. She actually issued an executive order and then held a press conference. And in no uncertain terms, just basically said, ain't going to happen in Arkansas. Just saying. She said she was appalled, that's her word, by the attack on common sense. Those are her words, too. Here's her comment. She said, according to the rule, that's the Biden rule, sex is no longer based on the commonly understood biological differences between men and women. It's based on how a person feels or their gender identity. To put it another way, she said, Biden thinks anybody can be a woman just because they say so. I can't think of anything more offensive or dismissive of the very real, very scientific traits that all women share that no man does. Well said. She also went on to say she thinks that Biden is making an attempt to erase our existence as women. I don't think that's hyperbole, by the way. I think he is. There is such a blurring of the lines right now that it's as if they are truly trying to erase women. Which I look at it now, where are the feminists? Where are they right now? You remember the Women's March? Wearing their hats, let's put it that way. They're wearing their hats. Where are the feminists right now? The ones, the radicals who for years have, used to be things like burning their bras and whatever else, just resisting on behalf of pushing back. And, we had one of the leading cases under the law that changed the way we have to look at wages and earnings. There was a Lilly Ledbetter case, came out of Gadsden, Alabama, right here in this town. Lilly Ledbetter was an employee, a corporate employee at Goodyear, the tire plant that we lost because of the unions. But Lilly Ledbetter found out that for years, allegedly, she had been paid for doing the same work at a lower rate than many of the men in the plant. And so she filed suit. It was a discrimination claim. I'm going from memory here, but my recollection is she lost the suit. So the Pelosi regime with Obama as president decided to pass a new law, and they named it the Lilly Ledbetter Act. I've met her. She's an avid advocate right now for the notion, in her opinion, that women have been aggrieved. And that we are constantly seeing women trying to just grab for what they can because men are trying to keep them down. And I wonder where she is right now on this Title IX stuff. You never see them. But she was the cause celeb, by the way. She campaigned with Obama for his second term. She was brought to. She was feted at all of the big fundraisers and let's have a toast to Lilly Ledbetter, and it was this awesome. It was big doings. It was amazing. Oh, Lilly, and now where is she? I'd love to know. Why didn't she use some of that I'm a champion for women celebrity status and go deal with Title IX? You know why? Because it doesn't fit the Democrat narrative, and so she won't. That's why. They are not out to do the things that are right. They're out to do the things that are liberal, progressive, that get them the votes and hold them in power. That's what they want. So yeah, where are the feminists? Where are the female activists? They're nowhere to be found right now. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, again, by the way, says the executive order itself that she signed says, quote, educational institutions of Arkansas will continue to enforce state law, guaranteeing the rights of students to maintain their privacy. Students must not be forced to shower or undress with members of the opposite sex. Female students must not be denied equal athletic opportunities or forced to risk their safety by having biological males placed into female-designated sports leagues. It's amazing that we have to say that stuff. You know it? It really is. It's a clear indication of where we are right now in society. It's also a clear indication that we better go to the polls and go strong this fall. Because just like I saw for a fact firsthand when I had that bathroom bill back in 2015, it went away. The need for it went away as soon as Trump was elected. The same can be true for crap like this. The need for it goes away if we can win at the polls. Let's get her done. Coming up next, Grand Council, me, Jeff Poore, and Dale Jackson. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You're listening live to Rightside Radio with Phil Williams. It's hard to go wrong when you're on the right side. Rightside Radio. Solid, conservative, and just plain right.
Alabama's syndicated news talk leader, Rightside Radio. Phil Williams here live in the Rightside studios. Man, we got all the issues, the local, the state, the national, covering down on all of it. And like the dude just said, solid, conservative, and just plain right. Well, welcome to hour number three. Hour number three on Hump Day, which means only one thing. We're going to have a moment of the Grand Council. So let me call the roll and see who's here. From FM Talk 106.5 down yonder in Mobile, the host of his own show, The Jeff Poor Show, as well as being the editor-in-chief for 1819 News. Jeff Poor, are you with us?
I am present.
You are indeed on the phones today. Thank you for being here. All right, from 770 AM, 92.5 FM, Cumulus Broadcasting's WVNN out of Huntsville, and allegedly on other stations around the region, as well as writing for Yellowhammer News and all that. Dale Jackson, are you there? All right, you are present. I pronounce a quorum. Hit it, Big Rig.
Assemble the Grand Council.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and just throw it out there. Dale Jackson, you're first.
All right. So is this presidential debate ever going to actually happen? I don't believe it is. But what do you guys think? Is this actually being done to say, okay, we're going to have a presidential debate? Or to say, well, Biden wanted the debate, but Trump just couldn't meet the parameters.
I'm gonna hazard that they may have one, and then Biden's going to cancel the second one. I just look at this and think this is. I mean, is Joe? By the way, which Joe Biden's going to show up at the debate? Is it going to be Angry Joe? Is it going to be Confused Joe? Is it going to be Storyteller Joe? Uncle Joe?
I mean, did you read the preconditions?
Yes. I mean,
no audience, mute the mics. They get to pick the cable networks, all this stuff.
Does he have to have a seeing eye dog to get him off the stage and an IV of dementia cocktail? I don't know what's going to happen.
Pass a COVID test.
Exactly. Weigh in, Jeff. What are we going to do? Are we going to have two debates or not?
I think probably. I mean, the second debate will happen under this. I mean, if it's close, if either one of these guys is out in front by a big lead, potentially Trump or Biden, then I don't. There's no incentive. Like, it's no debate. So because we've seen that before with Trump, and then Biden's never been in that situation where he's had a big lead, and I guess ever since even going back to his like vice presidential debates. So that's what I would look for.
Who are the moderators? Do we know who they're supposed to be or who's hosting it?
Dana Bash for CNN, and I don't know about the second one.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I don't know. I just look at it and think. Now, I will say this: I think one of the ways that I mean, aside from the cheating and other things that happened, I think part of what hurt Trump in the final days of that last campaign was the yell at Biden debate, where he just wore him out, and everybody wanted him to wear him out, but he couldn't get it under control. He's got to be the different Trump on the stage. Your own question, Dale. What are you thinking?
I don't think it happens.
You don't think either one of them happened?
Nope, I don't think either one happens. I again, could be wrong, obviously, but I just don't see it. I mean, how are you going to put Joe Biden out there? And is Donald Trump going to agree to these terms where he can't have a crowd, where his mic will be cut, all this stuff? I just don't see that.
Well, he already did. He already accepted. He said, "Go for it."
He accepted, but they're no. He accepted, but they're still pretty far apart on on the agreement for the actual debate.
Did you just no me on my own show?
I got to tell the truth. Alabama's most trusted journalist.
All right, Jeff, next question. What do you got?
When Will Ainsworth saw Steve Marshall standing alongside Trump in New York City prior to his court trial hearing, what do you think he was thinking?
I'll be honest with you. You are politically astute and very savvy. That had not even occurred to me. That had not even. Wow. I think he was looking and thinking, curses. How do I hold a fundraiser for Trump at my house or something? I don't know. That's funny. So what you're saying there is you think that Steve Marshall's going to run for governor and he just got the Trump endorsement?
I don't know. I mean, you know, here's what I think probably happened. I mean, that's the fun, sexy storyline for us to talk about. But to ruin it, what probably happens is Tuberville stays in the Senate. Ainsworth is governor, and Marshall works for Trump in a Trump administration if he wins. I don't know if Trump loses, that we're a different story, but that's what it feels like to me.
I could see that, but there's also some great U.S. attorney positions that are going to open up around the state. So that could also be a thing, just looking at. Plus, here's the other thing, though, on a real basis, and this is what Marshall would probably say, is that he is actually the president of the Republican Attorneys General Association for the nation. So he's up there in his official capacity as the RAGA's president, I guess. But still, that does cause the politicos' heads to spin just a bit. You got any thoughts on it, Dale?
Well, I think that if this is going to be the race between Marshall and Ainsworth, Trump will remember that Marshall was standing there next to him. So I think that matters. So maybe it is to get an endorsement.
That's funny. That is way funny. All right. My next question. Here we go. Ready? I'm gonna bring it back home. So when Birmingham Southern announced that it was having financial difficulties to the point of bankruptcy, to the point of oh God, please bail us out. There was all this talk about how it would be the ruination. If we don't bail them out with government dollars, it's going to be the ruination of Birmingham. That the Birmingham Southern campus is such an economic engine. We got to keep it. And then the whole thing about giving them free money from the state just fell apart. Well, we got word this past week that a $53 million offer from Alabama A&M has been made to just buy the campus, retain all the employees, and increase the number of students. So is there a lesson to be learned here? Is anybody going to learn it? That's my question, Jeff.
What the lesson to be learned is, if you want to be in higher ed, do it on the government teat, subsidizing it, and you're more likely to not go into default. But just the Alabama A&M offer, guys. I don't know what to make of that. Wouldn't it seem like there'd be a turf war with Miles and even Alabama State for them to do that? But Birmingham Southern, just you don't overextend yourself if you're in the private higher ed.
Yeah, but I don't think Alabama State or Miles is going to have the financial wherewithal to be able to bring an offer to the table.
Well, how does Alabama A&M? It's not like they are.
All I know is they made an offer and they pre-qualified for it. So I don't know. They're going to name it the Dale Jackson campus or something. I don't know. Dale, what do you think?
Well, here's what I know about Alabama A&M. They have more students than their housing can handle.
Yeah.
And their number one location for both alumni and students is what? Birmingham, Alabama. So it makes complete sense because you could instantly shift some of those kids down there. I'm sure some of them would much rather go to Alabama A&M Birmingham. So it makes sense for them. And I think that the monetary issue, they clearly think they can swing it.
Yeah, but the lesson here, though, is that all the crying, all the reasons why we had to bail them out with pure tax dollars is absolutely being washed away, and no one's talking about that. That's what's so aggravating, because for over a year we heard the plaintive cries of the Birmingham Southern alumni, members of the legislature who wanted to give away state money. We thought we had a bill to give you $30 million. Then it was going to be a loan. Young Boozer stood in the gap. Our state treasurer, go ahead.
Senator, it's my understanding that Alabama A&M wants to tap into some of that money that the state made available somehow to make this work.
You just opened up a whole Pandora's box. I mean, if you're telling me that they're going to go after that bill and try to borrow $30 million to do the $53 million buyout, then
I don't know that they were going.
Let me offer up a little bit of a caveat here. They are a state school.
Well, they are.
And what I mean by that is Birmingham Southern is not. So this could still be a good investment if that money's there, just there as it exists.
But let me preface back to my original comment was Alabama State's going to have to tap into something from the legislature to afford this, and that's why I said that's what I meant. So that's why I said Alabama State, Quentin Ross. And you think he's just going to let this happen? I mean, this is how these colleges operate. They're going to have to tap into some public money Now that's always been what I've heard was that $30 million, maybe not in its entirety, but some element of it, they want to make it available for Alabama A&M to pull this off. And I don't believe that the other HBCUs, public ones in the state, are going to be like, okay, go right ahead, Alabama A&M.
I don't know. I mean, Quentin Ross is certainly savvy. I mean, I spent time in the legislature with him, but I cannot imagine. I don't see the same level of political or financial acumen out of State or Miles that you got out of Alabama A&M. I don't see it. I just don't.
What do you mean by that? By exactly acumen?
Well,
I mean,
I don't think they have. I don't think they have the firepower to make it happen. Is what I'm trying to say.
they have a former state senator as their president at Alabama State.
I just finished saying I bragged on him, but I don't think they still got it. I don't think they do. I don't think they have. I could have Donald Trump as the president of Rightside Radio, but if we don't have enough money to buy a new studio, what am I going to do? At some point,
Where do you
you're
think
limited.
Alabama A&M is getting the senator? Where do you think Alabama A&M is going to get the money?
Well, you're telling me they're borrowing money from the state, which is news to me. But what I'm telling you is my understanding was it was going to be an endowment purchase. They were going to dig into their own coffers to make this happen. Is that not true?
Maybe so, maybe so. But the early discussions I've heard of this was part of that $30 million they were going to need to be made available to pull this off.
That would be unique and different, and I want to see that. So maybe something like 1819 News will bird dog that thing for us. That'd be good. Take the story. Go for it, man. Silence. Do you have that cricket thing? Can you play the crickets for me? All right, listen, we're going to take a break right now. We're in round one. There's the crickets. The round one of the Grand Council. I got Dale Jackson, Jeff Poore, and little old me. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break. And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Solid, conservative, and just plain right. Like saving the world one soundbite at a time. Going back to round number 2, the Grand Council with Dale Jackson and Jeff Poore. Dale Jackson, you're first. What you got?
John Wall and the ALGOP has just sent out another press release standing with the volunteer attacked last Saturday. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. But the end is, it's important to remember that we cannot be sure if this attack was or was not politically motivated.
Wow.
Why the hell are we talking about it? What are we doing here? I don't understand why this is a thing if they don't know that it was politically motivated.
Is the woman claiming it was politically was something said to her? I mean, where do we get the narrative? Despite the fact she's leaving the state headquarters, where else do we get the narrative? Or the county headquarters, actually.
None of the press releases lay out like a blow by blow of what happened, and I'm confused as to what the story is here.
Do you know Jeff? Did we lose Jeff? Is Jeff there?
Just you scared him away with that hard question.
Oh, there he is. Hey, Jeff, I'm sorry. You were cut off, buddy. Start over again.
The initial Algot press release called it a potentially politically motivated attack, and that's where that rhetoric got introduced. We, in 1819, we did talk to the Athens police. They gave us kind of a 2-paragraph statement. Then they came out with a much longer statement later in the day and dismissing it, which, I mean, like, why? How do they know automatically right out of hand? But anyway, I still think it's possible, but why are we talking about it? Because it just seems like it could be. It happened in Marshall County like a month ago.
Marshall County with the guy that got scratched up by the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of craziness in the world right now.
That one was That one was legit. I mean, she's actually pled guilty to that one, but in this case,
well, someone on this call had questioned the validity of it.
I absolutely did, and I was wrong and apologize to that guy personally. So
yes, you could be, but we could be wrong about this here too. I mean, we don't know. I'm not gonna. I mean, like giving a 30% chance or 20% chance of being true. I don't know. I don't even know where to start there.
I just think for it to be a road rage incident, which happens by itself, for it to be called politically motivated, they're going to have to do more than just say that she was actually volunteering at the Republican headquarters and right after that it happened. I think they're going to have to come out and say he said these things to her or he yelled something to her like a slur about politics. Because right now we're all just
she
left
had
to
bumper
wonder.
stickers on her. She had bumper stickers about Trump on her car or something. You know, they're not mutually exclusive. It could be a road rage and politically motivated potentially. It's weird, right?
It is weird.
Well, why are we in such a hurry to dismiss the potential of it being politically motivated?
Oh, I mean,
that's
you and
easy.
I,
That's easy.
Bill, but
it's easy because if it was politically motivated, we would be in a hurry to condemn. So if you can't confirm, then you have to say, well, then why don't we have more information about it? Why don't we have like he said, why don't we have he said this, they said this is how it started. Instead we got some horn honking and stuff like that. I don't know. The whole situation is terrible because somebody obviously got hurt.
Yeah.
And that's bad enough. But, I mean, are we trying to score points for no reason? And when you do that, just like when Jussie Smollett does stuff and then we call racism all the time, you know, their side does not call that out enough. So I think we on the right here are somewhat a little more sensitive to that and call out our own side more. That's what's happening.
Well, how about this, though? I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
There's one aspect of this. There is video of this. The parking lot. They have not released it. We don't know. But now maybe the Athens police do know. And they're but and I'm not talking about you and I. I'm talking about them. Like, why are they in such a hurry to bat that down? Well, what does it matter to the Athens Police Department if it's politically motivated or not?
You know, they have to assign motive to something, but I still look at it.
They're trying to dispel what they believe is a false narrative.
And
why would they put that guys? Why would they put that in a press release right after the Alabama Republican Party does theirs? Why did they feel that? Why did they have that desire or necessity to do that?
Did you ask them?
Doesn't that seem weird? Yeah,
you asked them though.
We're waiting on a response.
Okay, so all right. Well, then I want to know more.
No,
the bottom line is I want to know more on this. I do. I mean, this for them to say politically motivated, we got to know what that means. About a minute left here. Go ahead, Dale.
I was just going to say, I mean, the incident happened. The LGOP sent out their press release. 1819 News contacted Athens PD, and said, hey, what's this? And they said, they gave a short statement and then a longer statement later on. And I think they're trying to dispel it because they're seeing stories being written about it that they believe are false. If as they are describing it, went down the way it did, then that's why they're so adamant to dispel it.
And they're maybe trying to defuse because it's a political environment that we're in right now. But it's still a red state. I mean, come on. And we already had the thing over in Marshall County, which Dale was a denier of. But there you go.
Attack denier, Dale Jackson.
Got a quick question for us, Jeff? What you got?
UAW vote this week. I'm starting to feel a little bit better about it. Even though what happened in Chattanooga happened, just kind of spending some time in Tuscaloosa last week. I don't think it's necessarily a sure thing. What do you think?
Music's playing, but I don't think it's a sure thing. Dale?
I think it's more likely than not, but I'm hoping you guys are right.
Oh. All right. Grand Council, Jeff Poore, Dale Jackson, appreciate you both. Thank you so much. You guys stay tuned. We will be right back. And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid, conservative, and just plain right. Like covering down on some major ground across the northern half of the most beautiful state in the nation. This one right here. This one, Alabama. I'm talking about, y'all, this show goes like way down south of Birmingham and up north of Huntsville and Tuscaloosa, back to Gadsden, parts of Georgia, Tennessee, and even Mississippi, all thrown in just for good measure. Hey, by the way, who else covers a lot of ground? That would be our friends over yonder at Southern Immediate Care. Southern Immediate Care, a chain of clinics that covers like a huge swath of ground across our overly broad listening area. Southern Immediate Care in places like Gadsden, Anniston, Attala, 6 more locations in and around the Birmingham region. They are open 7 days a week at all locations. They will see all ages. I like to say it's geriatric to pediatric. They will also, by the way, be known as the ones that I use personally. And I mean that with all sincerity. And I don't use them because they advertise on the show. I don't. I was already using them. So pleased with how professional, courteous, friendly, just getting it done. When you go in there, you feel like you've just been taken care of. And I thought I can brag on this. And I do. And I'm glad to. So yeah, Southern Immediate Care. You need medical attention even on a Saturday morning for that matter. You look them up, find the location nearest to you, and head on down there. And while you're there, tell them you heard about it on Rightside Radio. I would appreciate it. I got a few text messages, and then I'm going to jump on some other news, some breaking news, actually. Chappie from Madison says the news just came out that this is that road rage thing. The news just came out that the lady ran a stop sign, which instigated the issue of road rage. Athens police have surveillance video of the stop sign run. Okay, well, then it may not be politically motivated. But why would they even say that, though? That's the thing that bugs me. We run the risk of watering down the message when we say, this must be racism, or this must be politically motivated. This must be a hate crime. And you know what? I'm not so sure it's not. Maybe she ran the stop sign and that was an incident, but then the guy saw the bumper stickers and that pissed him off. Maybe he decided to pull over and then scream at her about Trump. So it may wind up being both. But I want to see more about it. Dave from Rimlap says, Judgment Day cometh, no king but King Jesus. I agree with that. The Revolutionary War cry used to be in the Library of Congress, but who knows now? Wow. That's a great message. Seems a little random, but thank you very much. That was a good message. Jeff from Indiana texted in and says, he's sending me something else. I'm sorry. I will check that out. Thank you very much, man. John from Huntsville just texted in. He says, Phil, I heard of the Glenn Beck show this morning that Trump accepted Biden's terms, so Dale Jackson is wrong. Well, so here's the deal. I'm not sure what Dale was saying there. He's trying to keep up, but that's my recollection too, John, is I've already seen the Truth Social posting has been put out that he's accepted the terms. And so it's going to happen that way, assuming it's going to happen. Now, the question that Dale had was, will there be a debate at all, I think is what he was saying. And so the damage is about to be done, really. So here's a couple of pieces of breaking news, all right? First of all, Nancy Pelosi, headline on Fox News right now, Nancy Pelosi admits she would never recommend Biden to debate Trump after the surprise decision to do so. And I've not had a chance to dig into this article yet. If it opens up, I'll tell you what it says. But the bottom line is Democrats are worried about this. They are very worried about this. They know that he has trouble by himself with a teleprompter, much less responding. Look, there was an interview the other day. CNN? I think it was CNN. CNN did the interview the other day and began to ask him actual questions, like about the economy, sort of wearing him out. And you could see the look in his eyes. He didn't know what to do. He got the hey look in his eyes, like, don't come at me, man. I mean, it was, and you could see that there was if you look at the pictures of him in that particular moment, his eyes had a little bit of fear and confusion built in. You could see the look, and I'm not trying to, this is not the conservative talking about the liberal. I would say that about Trump. That's what was, I could see it. You could read in his eyes, he was very uncomfortable, and he didn't know what was happening. And he was trying to explain, and his explanations were not working. They trying to say that we really do like the economy. the people out there really think things are going great for them right now. I mean, it's, God Almighty. So I think Democrats are about to have a meltdown. But here's the thing: if they've offered the debate, here's the thing: if they've offered the debate, set the standard, and it's been accepted, but then something big happens and now we can't do it, then they're on the record as having offered the debate. That's why they're the ones who offered. They can try to get all the points for having offered. Whether we'll have to, I mean, who knows? They're probably still hoping Donald Trump's going to be in jail right then. Who knows? Well, we were going to debate him, but oh boy, I couldn't make it. By the way, if you haven't seen the video, so Joe Biden, his announcement on this was Angry Joe. I mean, there's different Joe Bidens. There's Angry Joe, the one that likes to yell at you. Get all spun up, man. And then there's, like, get off my grass guy. And then there's the hey, Joe, hey, I'm your buddy, hey, God bless you, hey.
And the other one, the Corn Pop.
Corn Pop, yeah, Corn Pop is the storyteller. That's the one who tries to identify. It doesn't matter who he's talking to. Hey, I grew up in a Greco-Roman, Jewish, Palestinian household at a synagogue. I mean, he'll do that. And then there's Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe is the one who just gets tired, and you can just tell it, and he's not sure what, and the words don't come out right. So we don't know which Joe Biden's going to show up. But what we do know is this.
Yeah, there he is. What's going on, man?
Trump's pretty much the same no matter what. Now, I'll say this. There's calm Trump, calm and cool and collected Trump, and then there's Trump unhinged. And I really hope that we get calm, cool, collected Trump that night to just wear him out. Just wear him out with facts, wear him out with responses. But yes, right now, my understanding is the acceptance has already been made. We'll do it. Fine. If that's what you want, we'll do it. And the question is going to be, then will Joe show up? But Joe's on record as being the guy who offered. Whoop, whoop. Going back to Graham from Meridianville says, as soon as I heard the debate was going to be held at CNN headquarters, I just assumed the fix was in. Joe will have the questions before the debate. I feel certain that is true. That happened in the past, didn't it? Absolutely did. Hillary Clinton got the questions before the debate, and that's just sick if you get down to it. She still lost, though. But yeah, I did. So that was the next piece of breaking news. Is it's getting out right now that not only is it going to be CNN hosting the first debate. I mean, yeah, CNN hosting the first debate, but it's Dana Bash and Jake Tapper. Oh boy, this is going to be good. Glenn from Bluntsville calls him Chameleon Joe. That fits. It's whichever Joe needs to be there at the time is the one he'll be. But I think sometimes his reactions are because he doesn't know what else to do. And so Angry Joe comes out when he's trying to make a point, but he doesn't know how to project it well. All right, I'm going to call on the line. I do. Is that Jeff? Line one, Jeff from Indiana. Hey, brother, how you doing?
Hey, Phil, I got a stock tip for you.
Stock tip. What you got?
You need to invest in Prevagen because I'm thinking Joe Biden is about to buy a tanker of it.
He's standing up there just sucking it through a straw.
Oh, he's going to have a port in his head, and they're going to have feeding the jellyfish juice to his head.
I was trying to think what that medicine was. I actually was trying to think of that because you said that before, and I thought, what is that medicine that he was talking about? It comes from shells or fish or something, and that's what it was. It was Prevagen and jellyfish, right?
Glowing jellyfish. I'm afraid Joe Biden's going to look like on the Mars attacks. He's going to have a little helmet up there, and his head's going to be all swelled up.
That was a pretty funny movie, by the way.
It was a good one. Oh, my gosh. But,
so what's your prediction then? Is Joe going to show up for the – I mean, so Joe's the one who threw the gauntlet down. Is he going to show up for the debate?
I'm thinking AI has advanced quite a bit because they're going to have some kind of implant in his head, and they're going to have something that can answer Trump's questions back immediately, without having to think.
So he's going to have implants, and somebody else is doing the talking. Is that what you're telling me?
I think it'll be AI.
Oh my gosh!
They've apparently come through some more breakthroughs. Either that or they've had the aliens they said has landed. The United States government knows about it. They must be going to have something, an alien implant into Joe there because there's no way. I mean, Joe couldn't even take on a romper room kids to ask him questions, let alone Trump.
So
Getting on him.
So here's the thing. So he's up there and they're doing AI for the responses. Every time the moderator asks a question, they start off with, Alexa, please tell us what you think about the economy. And then Joe starts talking.
That might not be far from the truth. Either that or he's going to have some Google glasses on there with teleprompters in them or something. I check him for something because there's no way in the world. I mean, this has got to be, he knows what he's doing, or somebody has told him to do this. And otherwise you'd be sitting there, you'd be like the Easter Bunny at the thing there, waving her hands in front of him, telling him, "No, Joe, don't talk."
It's going to be something to see. I think the question is I think me personally, I said it on the Grand Council. I think they'll wind up doing the first debate. And then Joe will find a reason not to do the second because, Trump was mean, or Trump kept interrupting, or Trump was, he's on trial, so therefore it's demeaning for us in the office of the presidency to debate him. I think they're going to do something to try and get out of the second debate. And then, of course, who was it? Was it Dale? I think it was Dale Jackson that implied that basically this is the way they get rid of him. They do the first debate and then it goes so badly that they go to the convention and they say we got to have somebody new.
Is the convention before or after this debate?
The convention is between the two. So first there's a debate in June, there's a convention in August, and there's another debate in September.
This might be the setup to get rid of him, man, because if he goes up there and completely fumbles and just looks like a deer in the headlights whenever Trump. Well, they're going to cut Trump's mic and everything, so but it's going to be a disaster. I'm looking for some kind of teleprompter that can only be seen with the special contacts that he's wearing or something, but behind the moderators there or something, because something's got to. He can't do. He can barely read a teleprompter, so I can imagine what he can. He's not going to be able to come off with a fly with any answers of anything.
Well, it's going to be something to watch, man. I'll be honest with you. I think they'll do the first debate, but I'm not even holding my breath on the second one. I think that one's done.
I'm just still waiting to see if he goes in with his helmet on.
Licking the windows.
he may need it before that debate's over with.
All right. Where are you on the road right now, man?
I'm going into Nashville, Tennessee, downtown area, and it's Nashville.
All right, brother. Well, be careful on the road, man.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, we'll see you. Take care. All right, we'll take the last break of the day. It is hump day. You are halfway to the weekend. We'll come back and do the last little segment and get you guys all the way to go home time. Yep, Rightside Radio, Phil Williams. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. We are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Solid, conservative, and just plain right. Like, wow, making it cool to be a conservative. All right, so the debate is on, by the way. I don't think I finished tying up the loose ends on that Pelosi story. So former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi on Wednesday revealed her personal views on a debate between President Biden and former President Donald Trump. Quote, I myself would never recommend going on stage with Donald Trump, but the president has decided that's what he wants to do. I think the format he is suggesting is a good one. That was about as tepid a response as you could possibly. That's like basically saying, this is gonna suck, but okay if you want to. That's what we just basically got there. Biden and Trump, it says on Wednesday morning, agreed to two debates. One on June 27th, hosted by CNN. A second on September 10th, hosted by ABC. That's crap. The very idea. And so I will say this. That is just sorry. I don't know if the CNN and ABC was also selected. Basically, what happened was Biden sent out all right, I'll do it, but it's got to be like this, and he laid it all. I mean, all the things that. In fact, you know what? Now that I say this, I wonder if they thought that Trump would push back and they'd be able to say, okay, never mind then. We gave you what we would do. Maybe. Wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be a hoot if they were saying, well, we'll only do it like this, but he'll never respond to that. He'll say no to all of that. And now he's doing it. So Biden and Trump did agree Wednesday morning to two debates, June 27th, hosted by CNN, September 10th, hosted by ABC. The Biden-Harris campaign asked that the debates occur inside of a TV studio. Wow. With microphones that automatically cut off whenever a speaker's time limit elapses. Wow. That is so cheesy. Pelosi also suggested that instead of doing a debate, she would prefer to have seen a separate town hall meeting for each candidate, let the audience challenge them with questions about the future. Well, Trump does that on a regular basis. The final debate between Trump and Biden back in 2020 was particularly heated, involving clashes between the candidates over things like COVID-19 and the economy. Pelosi detailed her concerns about Trump's demeanor on the debate stage. Yeah, he's mean. You know how he gets. That's what we're talking about here. It's just not right that he would be so, forward. Okay. You guys, by the way, I remember seeing the frustration in Trump when he did that debate and thinking, oh, please, you got to calm down. But I also knew where it came from. He had just been maligned and beaten on for 4 years, and he was finally having the moment where he could unload. And I hope that what's going to happen now, he's going to come into this debate and it's going to be, rock solid and have the ability to convey facts and to do so in a manner that sort of convinces the world that I'll tell you what, convinces the part of the world that doesn't already believe this, that he can come in and get this job done. Ken from RimLap sent me a Facebook post. Ken, I can't open a Facebook post while I'm on the air, but thank you very much.
I think it's just a meme.
Oh, is it a meme?
Yeah, I checked it out.
What is it?
It's Kermit the Frog looking out the window.
Okay.
Saying, sometimes I wonder if football season misses me too.
I don't know why this is okay. Okay, well, thank you so much, Ken from Rimlap. Laura from Huntsville says, what do you think the spread in Vegas will be on that debate if he shows? In 2 ways, LOL. I know that's bad. Yeah, so now you're asking the guy who just fought the gambling bill for the last several months to jump in here and give you the spread. I'm not doing it. Better than even. How about that? John from Huntsville says, Phil, you get an A+ for your amazing performance, but your record for completed dippers this week is now 2 wins, 1 loss. I don't think it's a loss, John. Here's the thing. I look at this and think, when it's a day that I don't complete 2 dippers, it means the content was so robust and the dialogue so meaningful that there's no way in the world we were going to get through 3 dippers. In fact, I'll say this to you, John. This was a 1 dipper day if you get down to it, with great guests added in on to bracket it all. But a 1 dipper day, that's a real day right there. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I agree.
Okay, good deal. Big Rig is today's winner with an A++. Congratulations. Looking forward to another spectacular Turbo Thursday. By the way, we do have a guest slated for tomorrow from the Alabama Attorney General's office. Looking forward to that. As well as we expect, and I'm still waiting. Oh, wait, I just got the confirmations. Butters and Lee tomorrow also. So that's going to be good doings. John from Brownsboro. So there was talk about Joe Biden having an earpiece in 2020 and Hillary in 2016, also having advanced knowledge of the questions from the way their answers were worded. I want a Lincoln Douglas debate on Twitter. No moderator. It'd be a train wreck, but I bet Trump comes out ahead. You know, the earpiece thing, rumors and speculation, I don't think so. I don't think they had an earpiece, but I do think this. I do think we know for a fact, by the way, that Hillary Clinton got the questions in advance. And that's so cheesy awful. All right, you guys, what an amazing day this was. This was a good one. You guys stay tuned for tomorrow. We got more amazing laid on for you. Why? Because it's Rightside Radio. We'll see you then.